Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market watch list here on the Boiler Room. Thank you guys once again for joining in. Glad to have you. Let's wait a few seconds here, a couple minutes until we get some more people in the live stream. Good morning, Jeremy, Rasul. Good morning. Got a good couple good things to go over today. To be quite honest, I have more of a neutral. I'm a little bit more neutral today on the market. You can say, just because there's still a lot of uncertainty going on. So I'm not super quick to jump the gun on taking any new positions right now. I mean, for the past week, the market's been this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it makes me a little nervous to hold anything overnight, to really start taking in any really big positions or anything like that. So today's going to be one of those days where I'm a little bit hesitant to jumping in. Raybo, we have stocks under $10 all the time. Only when it's worth mentioning stocks under $10, right? So Raybo, another to actually touch on that, right, is stocks under $10. So it sounds like you're looking for lower price stocks. The way the market works is not every once in a while, but it comes and goes, where penny stocks and lower price stocks will be good, and then higher price stocks will be good, right? Right now, we're starting to see some more lower price stocks start to do a little bit better, okay? So that's another thing too. As a stock trader, you have to be versatile. You can't only focus on stocks under $10, and you can't only focus on stocks that are $200. You got to be able to trade the whole market. That's the idea. But everyone's going to start somewhere. So today we do have a few stocks that we're going to take a look at that are $1 and then I think $5 or $6. So we do have those for you. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started on all of this. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. All right. So let's move over. Let me start sharing the screen to you guys. All right, here we go. All right, first things first, let me move that guy right there. All right, so everybody's already asking about Watt. Here we go, PTN. PTN is one we're going to mention because I know a lot of beginner traders and novice traders are watching PTN, so we're going to mention that. So first things first, let's take a look at WATT. If you're not familiar with WATT, let me give you the background on WATT. Back a few months back, I don't know the exact date, nor do I really care, but back here, when it went really big, there was news, right? We had news on Watt. The news was that Watt had then created a wireless charging device. Basically, you could charge your phone, you could charge headphones, tablets, smaller electronic devices could be charged wirelessly. So I could plug this thing into an outlet at my work desk, and I could have my phone in my pocket and it would still wirelessly charge, okay? So news on Watt was really big a few months back. That's what drove the price from $6 all the way up to $34, okay? Now today, which is right here, we're starting to see it pop up really big. So let's look at a sooner time frame. Let's look at a 5-day chart, right? So you can see we've been on a steady uptrend with Watt, and now Watt is starting to kind of push higher, right? Now we have this big pump right here. To be honest, you know what this probably is? All this buying pressure right here was most likely insider buying and insider transaction getting ready for this big jump, okay? Now, I know some of you are probably asking, how would you know that this is insider buying taking place? How would you know that that's the case? Well, I mean, you don't know for sure, but let me put it this way. If I worked at Watt, if I worked at Energous Corp, and I knew that our product was doing very well and we were about to get FCC certificate, I would do some insider buying. Some of you guys may have no clue what the hell I just said, so let me rephrase that. Right now, Watt had just received news. If you go and you look at the news, there's some from Market Watch. Watt wireless charger maker Energous stock soars 25% after FCC certification. Sorry. What is that? FCC certification. Basically, they have been approved by the the FCC that their product is in fact safe and it does not emit any harmful kind of, you could say, radiation or electromagnetic pulses. That's ideally what it is. So right now, WATT's wireless charging device did get an FCC certification, which basically says that their product does meet the minimum guideline, at least for safety, right? So that's big news. And now the stock has gapped up really big from $16 to, so from 16 to 21. Ideally, this is really good news. It's good enough news that could in fact continue to drive the price up. But first this morning, we have resistance at $21.61 pre-market. That's the pre-market high right there. All right, that's pre-market high. Okay. What we're most likely going to see take place on Watt when the bell opens is probably a little bit of a sell-off and then a dip buy before we go higher. That's what I would expect, because all the people that were buying in here at $13 will most likely start selling some of their shares, which you could easily see cause a dip and then be bought right back up. So if I'm going to play Watt today, that's most likely my game plan, is if I'm going to go and buy it, I want to see it dip down, and then I want to buy it for a dip buy. Now, where's the dip going to take place? That's the million-dollar question. But, you know, based on this chart, also note, look at this chart. $22 is major resistance. So think about this for a second, right? You could have had a lot of short sellers get in short here, 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 right, to ride this wave down. And now some of them may be covering up, which is causing that squeeze. And if the price does get back up above 22, we could really see it push higher, because if short sellers got in here, this is most likely where short sellers have their stop loss, $22, $23, okay? So again, Watt for me is a long bias trade, but only after a dip. Right now, the price is too high up here. I want to see it come down and then go. That's how I would personally like to trade it. And if that doesn't take place, then I'm not going to trade it. That's my plan. I want it to dip. I want to get in on a dip buy and sell towards the pre-market high here. Okay, so if it doesn't dip, then I probably won't trade it. Okay, so that's WATT. So to recap, WATT has very positive news this morning that came out at 6 in the morning and 7:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that they did get their FCC certification, which basically means that their product they have been making and working on is in fact safe for the consumer to use. Okay, let's continue further. Let's touch on the stock PTN. Okay, and then guys, and then I'll start getting to, hold on, let me take a second, maybe go through some of these things here. Screen. Yeah, WATT would be the one. Let's see, one second. All right, cool. So I'm going to continue here on PTN, and then I'll get to some of the questions here in a little bit. One of these days, I'll just go live for like a Q&A, because we get a lot of Q&As and don't have time for them. So one of these days, I'll do that. All right, so let's take a look at PTN. All right, so why are we talking about PTN? Why am I even mentioning PTN? The reason we're mentioning PTN is not because of this, but because right now, StockTwits, or actually let me go back right now. Right, let's do this. Right now, the reason we're talking about PTN is because of StockTwits, Equid Solutions, TradingView, YouTube, Facebook groups, etc. And then I'm going to put this into a big, we're going to do that right there. So read that right there. This is the reason why we're talking about PTN right there. Right? That is the reason we're talking about PTN. Facebook group, StockBits, TalkBet Solutions, TradingView, YouTube, Facebook groups, etc., because PTN is a lower price stock that more people can afford. So right now, you're getting a lot of pumpers on StockTwits. You're getting people in, bigger stock trading groups like TechBud Solutions, places like TradingView, YouTube, other related stock trading Facebook groups, etc. They're all talking about PTN. The reason they're talking about PTN is because it's a low price stock. And within the past couple days, right, PTN is up, let's see. Okay, let's go by percent here. PTN is up 63% over the past, month, right? It's up pretty big. It had a really big day yesterday. So now a lot of new novice and beginner traders are saying, oh my gosh, PTN is the stock to trade, when in reality, it's probably not the stock to trade. So let's talk about this real quick. PTN was on a consistently steady uptrend. So this is what people thought. Oh, PTN, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. So it should just continue to go up. So what ended up happening is PTN performed into a perfect ascending triangle and flat top breakout, right? The breakout was right here, and then it squeezed up. Now, I didn't trade it. I didn't even know it did this until now, right? So a lot of people are starting to catch wind of PTN because it's starting to make some big moves. So right now, this is where you should be selling. Everyone should be selling PTN. This is where you want to be selling. You want to sell into strength, because this was the bullish pattern. We just broke out. Now, so you look at this. Hold on, let me write this in text, all right? All right, bullish. And then you come up here, and this should be bearish, right? So what I just do, I put bullish and bearish, right? Because down here, this is where bullish traders are buying in on the dips. And then when it comes up, right, and it starts making, and it starts going higher, the bulls are starting to sell, and then bearish traders are coming in, and they're going to start trying to short this, right? Or they want it to start coming down, right? So right now, we're probably going to start seeing some selling pressure on PTN. So I wouldn't try and be long bias on PTN. If anything, I would probably stay away, my personal opinion, or look to maybe even get in short, right? So PTN, do with it what you please. There is possibly still room for the stock to grow. I don't know anything about the fundamentals, but what I do know about PTN is that many newer traders are gravitating towards this stock because it's made some pretty good moves in the past couple days to weeks. So now it's getting pushed around in different chat rooms, in different trading platforms, where newer traders are getting sucked into a stock that is already moved, okay? So to be honest, I would probably stay away from PTN, but it's good to mention because they have been going up and up and up. So a lot of traders thought it would just keep going up and up and up, and it's getting to the point where it's going to start getting sold off, okay? Next one we should talk about is I. I is a stock that I came across earlier this morning, not last night, but earlier this morning, right? So yeah, it went through a really big squeeze over this past couple days. The reason it squeezed pretty hard over the past couple days is it's had some pretty good news. This is one that I'm not necessarily favored for day trading, but you could watch it in these coming weeks for maybe some swing trading, because this particular stock just got news, and I'll read it to you. Vodacom Business Nigeria and Intelsat sign agreement to expand broadband connectivity throughout West Africa. And if you're not familiar, third world countries like Africa, they have a really big challenge ahead of them, and that challenge is having the same type of resources that we have in first world countries, right? We have almost instant access to internet, to knowledge, to learning, right? We can really grow ourselves because we have, the luxury of being able to use the internet and to be able to learn. But some of these underdeveloped countries, right, they don't have that same, luxury of being able to use the internet. And one of their biggest problems and things that they've been facing in some of these third world countries is, as simple as how do we provide clean water? How do we provide electricity? And another big one, as the world keeps progressing, is how are we going to provide internet connectivity to some of these third world countries? How can we help these third world countries or underdeveloped countries gain access to the internet so that they can too start learning on a same basis as some of, a more developed country. So this is pretty big news that they're finding a way to potentially bring broadband connectivity throughout West Africa. So that's some pretty big news, right? And you're starting to see it starting to move, right? We're starting to see a little bit more volume come into the stock. So I think that this stock, is probably good to watch for the coming weeks. Not necessarily right now, but keep it on your watch list. That's some pretty good news, right? Good job, Brent. Good job for you on that one. So we've covered PTN lower price stock. Is going to be a good one here in the next couple of days, I do believe. And actually, let me check on something else real fast here before we keep going. All right. Now I want to talk to you guys about the market. All right. So real quick, let's look at the SPY. There we go. All right, guys, let's take a look here, and then I will get to your guys' other recommendations. So just save them for a little bit longer because I only got a few more minutes, and then we'll touch on all the other ones that you guys want to look at, or at least a few. All right. Let's see. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, that's right. So let's look at the market right here, right? So we know that yesterday, and let me get my old drawings off, right? Okay. Looking at these drawings here, or not these drawings, but looking here, the market peaked out at about 265 yesterday, and then it dumped, right? What else did it do the day before? It reached 265, and then it dumped. It reached 266, and then it dumped, right? If we go look at even a 10-day chart here, 267 dump, 265 dump. So as you can see, the market tends to find resistance right at 266, 267, 265 at that price point, okay? But yesterday night, the president of China had released some news, or they went out and there was some news release, and basically, not going to go into too much detail, but China is starting to rewrite their particular game plan as far as the trade agreement. They're going to be lowering the tariffs on imported automobiles to their country, and they're going to start trying to improve and make the trade, I guess you could say, trade agreement between America and the United States more fair, right? It's becoming more legitimate, right? So they're going to be working on reducing the tariffs coming in. They're going to be working at helping reduce, I think, taxes on international businesses and investments. So ideally, the president of China came out yesterday and he spoke about revamping the trade agreement and making it a little bit more fair. So that is why we're seeing this big rebound on the market right here. We're starting to see a big rebound on the market because of the news that was brought out last night. So right now, we definitely have a long bias outlook on the market. Definitely a long bias outlook on the market. Today, I might consider doing some option calls. I might consider shorting stocks or ETFs like TVIX, UVXY, VXX, right? These are all particular tickers that will continue down or will go down if the SPY or if the market, in fact, does have a really, really green day. But I do want to mention one thing before that. Before I say that I'm entirely long biased on the market for right now, I would like to mention that every time we get to 266 or we get to 267 on the market, 265, we tend to see it dump, right? But I think that the news we're seeing right now with China and the trade agreement and all that, I think that news is big enough and it's a big enough catalyst to finally give the market that push it needs to get over the 265 resistance, 266 resistance. And if we do, in fact, push by that 266, 265 resistance, we should see, a steady push up, I think. I think that's a safe thing to say here. And let's see. Let's see. Let's see. HCM looks like it's time to get poems on 15 months. All right. So I'm all done looking at some stocks. We'll take just a few minutes and I'll just touch on a few of them here. I'll touch on a few stocks you guys are looking at, like Pay. We'll talk about Pay because Pay's up really big here this morning. All right, so here's the deal, right? And let me tell you guys, a lot of people right now are going, hey, look at the stock Pay. Look at Verifone. It's up really big this morning. It's up really big. It's the biggest gapper. It's huge. Well, the reason it's the biggest gapper is if you come down and you look at the news, you're going to come and find that, hold on, where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Stock soars 52% pre-market after $3.4 million buyout deal late Monday. So Verifone is in the process of getting bought out by another company. Whenever you get a buyout, you're going to get a big spike like this, right? And it usually is going to trade right around $23, $24 all day long. It's going to be a sideways trade. Want me to show you one that just did that yesterday? It was like AX, or I don't know what it was. Was it AIXC or something like that? I don't know. But there was one yesterday that just, or was it AXS? No. But the reason it's up really big is because there's a potential buyout. And when that happens or whatnot, we're going to see a sideways trading day. So might as well just stay away from Pay today. It's not going to be necessarily the best trade on the day. You know what, Steve? Steve, you just mentioned something really good. I didn't necessarily put that into perspective. Oh yeah, it was AVXS, right, guys? Look at there we go, AVXS, right? Look at what happened here, right? We had a little bit of a dip, but it primarily stayed the same. There was actually some movement you could have made money on, but look at that. It basically traded sideways all day, right? That's the same type of action you can probably expect to happen with this, but a little less because there isn't going to be as much rain. This is only a $23 stock versus AXS. What is 100? What is it? AVXS, where AVXS was 216, right? There's more room for play on that than there is going to be on Pay. It just is. But Steve Stenson did mention something really good. President Trump's lawyer just got raided by the FBI. So there is also some weary things taking place with the presidency and, people that are next to him. So there's a lot going on right now. But I think as long as I think the best thing Trump can do right now is to try his very best to keep the economy running strong, obviously, and the market up. If he can do that, if he can keep the stock market propped up, people's portfolios and 401ks looking healthy, continue economic growth, which I think is going to be very hard, then it's going to be okay. But I mean, they're trying so hard to get him impeached. There's a lot of things going on. The FBI just raided his lawyer. They're trying to find dirt on Mr. President Trump. So ideally, and then when the election, midterm elections coming around, the Democratic Party is going to try and come in. They're trying to essentially, they want to come in. They're trying to kind of win back the House. They want to win back, some of these places and seats in the government, right? So there's a lot going on right now, guys. More than just the market as a whole in China. There's many things going on and taking place. Okay. So we are running a little bit late. Actually, I won't have time to go over some of the stocks here with you guys today. So I do apologize for that. So, so we do got to end it there. I do apologize. I didn't have as much time to go over some of your guys' stocks. We got on a little bit late today. That is my apologies. But again, right. So to clarify, kind of wrap things up here, keep your eye on the market. The news with China, good news, could drive the market price higher, okay? So stocks like Facebook, keep an eye on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg has to provide or go in front of the Congress here very soon, and that can negatively affect Facebook. So maybe puts, short selling Facebook, not a bad idea. So, there's a lot going on, guys, and I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I try to provide you with as much information as possible in the shortest period of 30 minutes every morning. You know, sometimes I don't get out all that I want to get out. Sometimes I get out more than I want to get out. You know, it just depends. It's hard to get all the information out at one time in one sitting for you guys. So I do appreciate you guys being here. Keep an eye on the SPY. Be short biased on inverse ETFs today, like VXX, TVIX, UVXY, things like that. Tesla, I didn't mention this, but watch Tesla for a potential long, as it might be in a bullish cup and handle pattern. All right. So that's another thing, Freedom Show. Steel stocks, they should have been on the rise, but I just think there's so much uncertainty with what's going on in the market that no one really knows what's supposed to happen. I still have a bullish outlook, short-term bull outlook on, you know, some steel, but we'll see. We need the market to start pushing higher to bring those prices up on steel. But that's all I got for you guys today. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. I appreciate your guys' support. Please give me a like. Get us over 100 likes on the video. That would be really cool. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. And before you go out, make sure to check out the description box below for all the links that basically lead to everything that it is that I do. And soon we are going to be having a sale, probably a little bit towards the end of the month, for our trading room and our trading course. So I will send out those coupons as that time arrives. So thank you guys once again for tuning in, and I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for another pre-market watch list. Stay green.